Alexandra Bello Productions presents Artistic Times Radio with Alexandra Bello, covering art events, museums, festivals, and music. We have interviews of artists, celebrities, musicians, writers, and more. Learn about South Florida happenings and discover art firsthand while enjoying red carpets, fashion shows, and press conferences from the hand of our host, Alexandra Bello. Tune in on WNN 1470 every Tuesday night at 7:30 and on my website, ABP TV. Now, it's about to get artistic in here.
Happy Monday, everyone. I am Alexandra Bellos here with Artistic Times Radio, and tonight we have published author Morgan Lawrence. How are you doing, Morgan?
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
Awesome. Morgan is a published author of this book that I am holding right here, The Streets Ran Red. Okay, and I want Morgan to tell you a little bit about his background and why he decided to write this book. Okay.
Well, this book actually came apart as an early idea from the history of the paramedic program. See, a long time ago, it was handled by the sheriff's department because of the drugs involved. Fire departments didn't have it. And in the early days, we were all deputies, so it was that kind of a thing.
I can see that you have, you have a paramedic vehicle right here in front of in your cover, your book cover. That is self-explanatory. Now, this is a novel, but based on true events. Is that what it is?
Absolutely. Everything that's in that book happened to real people in real times. And it really shows you what the golden era of trauma is all about. What these people do. They're ordinary people. They're families. They're friends, like you and me. But they go home at the end of the day after walking a red line and a blue line to protect you from yourself and others that may be bad.
Okay. All right. So this book, you can find this book on Amazon. This book right here is you can get paperback for $20. Is that correct?
You can get a paperback for $20, and the hard copy is $27.95. It's available at Amazon, every major bookstore carrier in the world. And if you want a personal autographed copy, you can go to my website and get it at morganlawrence.webs.com.
That's awesome. It's very simple. Your name, .webs.com.
That's it.
Awesome. Now, tell me a little bit about how, this was your first book, right, in 2008?
It was.
Okay. How did your life change after putting everything on paper?
Well, the first thing I have to say is writing a book is easier than living with it because you have to constantly market a book. It's a living organism, and if you don't support it, it'll die. So you have to be out there pushing your book, and that means every autograph, every interview that needs to be done, if it's in Dayton, if it's in Cincinnati, you're on the red eye. You're going to go and do it because that's what makes the book sell.
Okay, awesome. Now, tell me, because, this show is about art. Tell me a little bit about why did you choose this medium to tell a story?
I felt like that was the most graphic, touching way to get the point across of how important it is for everyone to look out for everyone else and not just depend on the people with the badges and the guns. It's really kind of a pay it forward sort of an idea in a rudimentary fashion. This book came about from a suitcase full of police reports, crime scene photographs, and just numerous bits and scraps of paper, and I carried it around for, my Lord, many, many years before I wrote the book. And in the early years that the book was finished, I was working in Maryland at the University of Maryland Shock Trauma Center with R. Adams Cowley, and a local TV celebrity there basically said, "You've got to publish this. This story demands to be told." So I did, and it took off overnight.
Awesome. Now, tell me a little bit about the traveling. I know that you have been in many morning TV shows and all that.
Yeah, if it's got a good morning title to it, I've been there. Boston, Daytona, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Dayton, Bangor, Maine, Anchorage. Good Morning Anchorage. That was the funniest one I ever did because it was dark. There was no morning, and I was doing a good morning talk show in a place that had no morning. You find yourself after a period of time on a first-name basis with flight attendants and captains of aircraft because they see you more than they see their own families. And they say, where are you headed to today? I said, well, you're taking me to Boston, aren't you? And, yeah, okay. I'll see you on the red eye coming back.
Oh, my God.
And I've done one-day trips where I've flown taken off from PBIA and landed at Logan, went in, did a show, turned around, went back to Logan, got on a plane, and came back to PBIA in order to do a later interview by Skype from London.
That's awesome. Do you love it? Are you passionate about it?
I am. It motivates me to, the thing about it is that you find yourself helping more people than you would ever do in the rudimentary work itself. Because when you get out there and you talk to crowds, I just did a thing 2 weeks ago in San Diego where I talked to 2,200 people in one sitting. And anything short of a miracle in your life, you won't get to talk to that many people at one time unless you're doing this, of course.
Of course.
Of course. So I kind of like it. And it's great because people come up to you in the airport and they get right up in your grill and they say, what's the scariest thing you've ever seen? And I kind of smile and I say, I think I may be looking at it. But, you make them laugh, you make them feel good, you give them an autograph, and they go on their way.
That's awesome. Now, any plans, as I always ask every author, any plans on immortalizing this into film?
Very good question. I had a meeting 2 years ago with Quentin Tarantino, who showed a great interest in the book, and we're trying to put together a good screenplay. Right now, we've got a screenplay that's done, but I'm not happy with it. And until I'm happy with it, it's not going anywhere.
Okay.
But Quentin's got first call, and he said when we get one that he likes or that we like, then he'll buy it, and it will become it's too long to be a TV or movie. It's got to be a TV series, and that book right there can give you at least 5 seasons of TV series before I have to pull out the notes from the stuff that I cut out of it to make the next 5 series.
Of course. So 5 seasons?
Yeah, easily.
Easily with 12 episodes each.
A lot of action in that book.
That's good. That's very good.
And it's all real.
That's good. Now, tell me a little bit about, I know that you're not allowed to talk about, how realistic you lived everything.
It's graphic. And you have to remember when you put something in a book, that book was 1,050 pages when I finished writing it. It is now cut down to 320 pages. People say, why in the world did you do that? Well, some of the things in it are pretty graphic, and it's bad enough that they're in my mind. I don't want to put them in yours.
Yes.
So I had to decide what to keep in, what to take out, and the real stuff. But everything that I basically left in there, I left in because it was pertinent to the storyline, the characters, and it gave credibility.
I know the light. I'm just showing the book cover. It's all red. Yes, it is.
And I picked black and red because those are the 2 most eye-catching colors on the shelf.
Yes, they are, and they are very related to the type. Like, people definitely will notice that what they're gonna read.
One of the frequent questions I get is, where'd you get that title, The Streets Ran Red? And if you read the book in chapter 4, you'll find out where that comes from. But you got to read the book and read chapter 4 to find that out. And you'll appreciate the title a whole lot more when you read that.
Well, I want to remind everyone that you can contact Morgan Lawrence. He's on my Facebook. If you are a Facebook junkie, you can also add him from my Facebook. And I'm sure he will let you know when his next book signing is. All
Absolutely.
Right? He travels around a lot, and just ask him directly. Follow him, like his page, become his fan if you like reading, and if this is the genre that you like reading also.
And if you have a venue, charitable venue that you want to do a book signing, I will fashion a book signing so that you can make a profit for charity, and I will sign them for free, and I will show up.
That's good. That's very important. You know that you are giving back to communities.
upwards of 500 to 1,000 books away a year to breast cancer awareness alone. And I sign every book. The Sheriff's Department auctions them off, and, they make money for breast cancer awareness. And that's, it's got nothing to do with me, but it's got everything to do with the right thing to do.
Yeah, of course.
Pay it forward.
Yeah, you have to pay it forward. Now, let's talk a little bit about your involvement with, being in the show business, because I know that you are indirectly involved or directly involved with the show business. And how was your experience?
Well, it's been a Alice through the looking glass experience, to be honest with you. I started out doing voiceovers many years ago. The big break for me came after I did a Rexall 1-cent sale commercial, and then Disney picked me up to do a Magic Kingdom voice. And yes, boys and girls, this is the voice you hear at Disney. Welcome to the Magic Kingdom.
Wow.
So that's one of the things that really kind of kick-started things, and then people started looking at my writing and some of the things
paying
that I was selling.
attention to it,
Yeah, I mean, one thing leads to another. You may start out behind the scenes as a writer or any number of different things, but sooner or later, if there's anything there, they're going to find it and they're going to drag you in front of the camera, which is a lot scarier than behind it.
Yes, it is. So you also have done cameo appearances, right?
Yes, I've done some walk-ons and some dialogue films here in South Florida and in Maryland. I did a walk-on for a TV series years ago called Homicide: Life on the Streets. I almost got to play a dead guy, but they used somebody else for that. But I've done some different things down here. I was one of many walk-on people for Pain and Gain with Mark Wahlberg, and movie called Exposure that I spent some time on with Corey Feldman. You never know where it's going to lead, and I never say no to anything, primarily because you don't know where it's going to lead.
Yeah, you're
this
right.
is a very fickle business, and the strangest things have taken off and run.
Yeah, you are right. Art is definitely subjective, and as long as you're doing it honestly and having an honest living, you're
Sure.
fine. You're on the other side, so that's good. Now, tell me a little bit about now that we have seen you tied to the show business. Tell me a little bit about your ideas. How we were talking before, and you were telling me that you have sold ideas to television shows before.
I sold ideas for 7 seasons to a TV show called House.
Amazing.
I was what's called a stringer, and that's somebody who's not in the credits, but you write stuff and you sell it through your agent, through their people, and if they like what they read, they buy it, and they find a way to put it on the screen. And it's good money if you can keep it going, but it's sort of like bouncing an egg on a toothpick, because they're very picky about what they do, and you are not allowed to make mistakes. But if you get away with it for 5, 6, 7 seasons, they pretty much like what you're writing, and they really want to keep it going. So, and for those of you who watched the TV series House, the stuff that I wrote showed up in the clinic calls that House hated doing. There were all the weird things, which we got from real-life emergency room calls.
That's cool. You're more like like a technical consultant?
Yeah.
For a show?
Technical consultant's a pretty good word. Patrick Haas was one of the MDs for the show, but my work went through my agent in San Diego, who sold it, didn't sell it, but showed it to Katie Jacobs, who was the executive producer of the show, and Katie would show it to the producer, and they'd all have their Monday morning coffee, and they'd say, "We like this, let's buy it." Mm-hmm. And they'd pay her, and she'd take her cut, and I'd get my cut. By the way, by the time they get done cutting it up, the pie gets pretty small, so you better write a lot.
Yeah, you better write a lot and have off the charts ideas.
Absolutely.
I mean, they have to be extremely bizarre, and
there is no such thing as too bizarre for television.
Yes, you're right. You're right.
There were some things I was pushing the envelope towards the end there to see how far I could get away with the censors, and I couldn't beat them. I had one storyline that involved a man with a box cutter, and he did surgery on himself, and in a graphic way in a really unpopular place. And when I wrote it, I said, they're never going to buy this. It's never going to make the screen. And the reality is that not only did it make the screen, but they found a way to shoot it without being graphic. They reversed the shot. The money shot, instead of being the guy with his pants down, was the reaction of the doctor looking at the guy with his pants down from the ground up through his legs.
Oh.
They really reversed the shot, and I thought that was brilliant. I'm not sure who the cameraman or the cinematographer or the director was on that particular episode, but that was brilliant television right there.
Hey, they are the professionals. We have to take a short break, but we will be right back, guys.
The beautiful and complex art world can raise many questions about copyright, trademarks, negotiations, and settlements, especially if you are an artist and entrepreneur. The key to success when doing business through art is to find a reliable, trustworthy lawyer to give you the most professional representation for your and your clients' peace of mind. Call entertainment lawyer Kevin Wood at 954-809-4351 to set up a free consultation and jumpstart your career with the right tools. You're listening to Artistic Times with Alexandra Bello. Call into the show at 888-565-1470 and join us on the red carpet as Alexandra interviews and informs at WNN 1470 and ABP TV. Now, back to our show.
All right, we are back, and I just want to remind you all lovers that we have the Miami Web Fest going on this whole week. Yes, we have the award show happening this Sunday, October the 4th. And if you call in right now at 888-565-1470, I will give you, the lucky winner, 2 tickets for the award show. So go ahead and call in, and if for some reason you miss out on the show and you are watching a rerun, you can also go to our new Facebook page, Maps 305, and write a 5-star review on the page. When you do, you will enter a raffle, and that will be for 2 tickets for the award show. So, so far they have 50 confirmed celebrities, and they have over 50 hours of content. They are showcasing over 180 web series. So I recommend you to stop by Little Havana in the Tower Theater from today till Friday morning to go to any of the showings, and you can also go to the panels Wednesday night on rooftop, and you can also go to the award show on Sunday night. Well, there's a lot going on with that. I mean, we have events here in Florida all the time, and you can also follow me on Facebook, Alexandra Bello, if you want to find out more about what's happening. I usually post a little calendar there. You can request it, and I'll send it to you in a private message. Remember that I am also on Twitter, Instagram, and Vimeo on ABP TV. Yeah, Alexandra Bello Productions Television. So ABP TV, you follow me everywhere, and I will be happy to have you follow me around. I'm joking. Anyways, I want to remind everyone that this is Artistic Times, and you can watch us live every Monday at 7:30 p.m. You can listen to us live through the radio, 1470 AM or iHeartRadio. Just go to iHeartRadio and download the application on your phone and go to AM 1470 WNN and make it a favorite station. And when you do that, you can also join my event on Facebook, Artistic Times, and it will remind you on your phone, hey, you have a show going on at 7:30. Then you open your iHead Radio, and that's it. I wish they made it a little easier, but it's easy enough yet. And I make it even easier for you. After this interview is over, you give me a couple of days, and I put the link, the Vimeo link, right on my Facebook wall. And I make it public, so if we happen to not be friends yet, you can still access the interview. All right? Now, let's go back to you, Morgan, the start of the night. Tell me a little bit about, besides the movie plans, what is in the future for you? I know that you were telling me that there's another book in the works, and we are all waiting to hear about that.
Yeah, I got a new book that's coming out that's called Tears in the Sawgrass. It's based on true events like my first book, but it has to do with my work with adolescent serial killers, my interviews, real case situations, and outcomes. And it's very close to being released. As a matter of fact, my publisher's screaming at me to give it to him and let it go, but I'll let it go when I'm ready to release it. I did the same thing with that one, but I always want to make sure.
How many
that,
years with this one?
Oh, I sat on that for 5 years before I released it, before I let it go. But it's, like say, it's in 11 countries and 3 languages, and it's doing really well.
That's good.
It pays the mortgage.
That's good. Hey, you know what? If it's in 3 languages, that's
Yeah.
a step up.
That was kind of a surprise. I didn't expect that.
That's awesome. Which languages?
English, of course, French, and Russian.
Oh, Russian. I would thought Spanish. No.
Yeah, I would have
A
thought
lot of
that
Spanish
too.
people like reading about blood and night and events and
I'm getting a lot of pressure to make an audio book, and
yes.
I had talked to a couple of people who are very famous who do audio books, but at $10,000 an hour, they were a little too pricey for me, so I couldn't use them. So
$10,000 an hour?
Yeah,
No.
yeah. I think I'll actually probably record it myself.
Yes, if you were in the voiceover industry back in the day, you can just get yourself a studio and do it.
You know, the funny thing about it is that when I run into somebody who's been to a reading, a public reading or a story or something like that, and they come up and say, you know, it's really weird. When I read your book, I hear your voice. I said, wow, that's about the nicest thing somebody could say to you, but thank you.
No, but you know what? I had the opportunity this weekend to interview another author, a Cuban author, and he has a studio in Miami, and he has a radio station, like a radio station studio, and he's gonna start recording his audiobook himself. Yeah,
Good move.
in the
I
next
think
couple
that's
of
the smart
months.
way to go.
Yeah, no, with these microphones, the same thing.
Yeah.
So I think that you should do it. I think people would love to listen to the author himself.
I've had communications with Eric Clapton in Palm Beach, who has a private studio up there, and I may use his facilities to record it. There are a lot of unrehearsed stars who go in there to record, and they come to Palm Beach. They go in there and lay some tracks down, and then go over the beach for the day. That works out pretty good.
Nice, that's awesome. And you know what? You know the intonation. You know the subtext to every chapter that you're gonna be reading about. You know the backstory on every character.
I do.
So you know what? I mean, if you were into the voiceovers and Disney actually, brought you on board, is because you have the voice for that. So
What they want is versatility. They want to be able to. I can do roughly 150 different accents.
okay,
And that's what they want is the versatility. If they want you to be a Russian KGB guy, you have to be able to give them the pidgin Russian language. If you want to be a dirty old Frenchman, you have to be able to do that. Given 20 minutes of rehearsal time, I can go into a hot studio and lay a track and get it down. And that is really the secret to any recording contract you're ever going to get. If you can go in, hit it on the first couple of takes, and save them money time on the studio, you're going to be their friend. It's the same thing with movies and TV. You go out there before that camera and you hit it in the first couple of takes, you're their buddy. They're going to want you back.
you're right. You have to, and it's all about preparation.
Preparation,
Okay?
absolutely.
So it's about pre-production. It's about preparing yourself before you even get wherever you're going. Like, for example, if you know that you're gonna be in the voiceover, then when you're driving, you're training your voice, your
I've
mouth.
done that in my car many times.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
You're
I'll be
rehearsing.
driving 40 miles to a location to do a voice, and I'll be running tracks through my car while I'm on the way down there, so that when I get out of that car and I walk onto the set, I'm ready to go.
Good. Now, tell me a little bit before the show's over. We have a couple of minutes left. Tell me a little bit about your background. I mean, what was your first
Pretty
career?
eclectic, actually. I came home from Southeast Asia. I was in the Navy and spent some time in Vietnam. When I came home in 71, I couldn't get a job, and the job as a deputy paramedic came about by accident because I was out of money and they had free coffee and donuts, so I went to the seminar. Anyhow, after doing that for a lot of years, I said, I got to go back to school. And I went to Hopkins. I went through the medical program and became a physician's assistant traumatologist. Worked in trauma medicine, air and ground for over 20 years. until my knees weren't good enough to do that anymore, and then went back to school and got a double master's in forensic psychology and criminology.
That's very good.
So I got more degrees than a thermometer. I'll never live long enough to pay off my student loans.
I do know somebody that has more degrees than you, my mom. She got a little more than you, but that's awesome. That is awesome that you train yourself and that you got to share with us. I mean, I am excited to read the book. I have some books on queue from Frank Ruffalo, but as soon as I'm done with those, I am going to be reading this one because I do like. I mean, this is not mystery, but would it be considered, what is it, thriller or something?
This is real life thrillers.
Real life thrillers.
Yeah.
I like real life thrillers.
Yeah.
I am somebody that watches CSI. I watch, and a lot of people do. And if you do, this is the book. This is the book that you need to be.
If you like this is the best description, and Quentin Tarantino told me this. The best description of this book is it's ER, Law and Order, and CSI all wrapped up into one. Which is why he likes it.
That's awesome. Let's quote him on that. And you know what? It's all real. That's the most important thing. Now, I want to remind you all that you can go to morganlawrence.webs.com, or you can just hit me up, Alexandra Bello, and ask me, where is your author friend? And I'll tell you, which one? Well, the one with the streets run red. And I'll point you in the right direction so you can become Facebook buddies. And whenever he has something in your area, he goes all over nationwide. You can go and have a cup of coffee with him. Wouldn't that be lovely?
I love coffee.
Yes, I don't love coffee, but I like hot chocolate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
That works.
Exactly. So I want to thank you for coming here. I want to thank everybody for listening. And if you missed out on the tickets, I'm so sorry. I want to give a shout out to Michelle Smith, who is listening. She texted me right now. And thank you to everyone that can watch this show on Ustream Live every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Remember, this is Artistic Times. This was Morgan Lawrence, and I am Alexandra Bello. Mwah.
You have been listening to Alexandra Bello. From Alexandra Bello Productions and Artistic Times Radio, join us every Tuesday at 7:30 and get informed in the world of artists, celebrities, musicians, writers, and more on the Red Carpet Fashion Show. Join us next week for more red carpet treatment of Artistic Times.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its host.